Edwin Moses, a young man with a dream, standing at the starting line of his very first major race. It's 1976, and he's a relatively unknown name in the world of athletics. He wasn't raised to be an athlete. In fact, he majored in physics and industrial engineering in college and was more academically inclined. However, Moses had an inner fire, an unshakable belief that he could be the best in the world at the 400-meter hurdles. On that day, the odds were stacked against him. Most of the other athletes in the race had been training for years, and they had both the experience and physical advantage. But Moses had something else. He had mental discipline. He had spent hours upon hours not just training his body, but also training his mind. As the gun went off, Moses didn't just run, he executed. His mind was laser-focused. He had visualized every step of the race 100 times before. He tuned out the roaring crowd, the pressure of the moment, and the fear of failure. And then, against all odds, Moses crossed the finish line, far ahead of the rest. This victory was no fluke. Over the next decade, Moses would go on to dominate the 400-meter hurdles, winning 122 consecutive races and setting world records. His success wasn't because he was the most naturally gifted, it was because he built the mindset of a champion. He believed in himself when no one else did. He mastered his thoughts and emotions. And above all, he believed he was destined to win. And that's exactly what Denis Waitley's The Psychology of Winning teaches us, that winning isn't about luck or talent alone, it's about cultivating a mindset that pushes you to overcome any challenge. In today's video, we're going to explore the key principles from the psychology of winning that can help you build that same winning mindset. We'll dive into the stories, the lessons, and the practical steps that will shift your mentality from simply hoping to win to knowing that you can. If you're ready to transform the way you think, hit that like button and subscribe to Proper Improvement for more insights like this. Now, let's get into it. Winners believe in their worth. The first and perhaps most important takeaway from the psychology of winning is that winners believe in their worth. They have an unshakable belief that they deserve success, happiness, and achievement, and this self-worth is what fuels their drive. Denis Waitley tells the story of a young man working as a low-level employee in a big corporation. His job was repetitive, unremarkable, and often looked down upon by others. Many people in his position would have simply accepted their lot in life, thinking that they were destined to remain where they started. But not this young man. He had a different outlook. From the very beginning, he believed that he was meant for greater things. While others were just going through the motions, he was using every opportunity to learn, grow, and prove his worth. Every task, no matter how small, was an opportunity for him to demonstrate excellence. He was determined to rise above his current station, even if no one else saw his potential. Day after day, he worked on improving his skills, learning about different aspects of the business, and contributing ideas beyond his job description. And over time, his hard work paid off. He was noticed by his superiors, and soon, he was promoted, and then promoted again, and again. Eventually, this young man rose to the top of the company, becoming an executive leader. His success wasn't a result of luck or favoritism, it was a result of his unwavering belief in his own worth. He knew, even when others didn't, that he was destined for success. He didn't wait for someone to validate his potential, he proved it through action. It all starts with believing you deserve to win. If you don't have that foundational belief, you're already holding yourself back. Do you believe you deserve to win, or are you waiting for others to tell you you're good enough? Positive self-talk is the fuel for winning. One of the most powerful tools in the psychology of winning is positive self-talk. The conversations we have with ourselves shape our reality. Winners understand this and make sure their inner dialogue supports their goals. Olympic athletes are among the most disciplined individuals on the planet. But what sets them apart isn't just their physical training, it's their mental discipline. Denis Waitley shares the story of how many Olympians use the power of positive self-talk as a cornerstone of their success. During their training, athletes face immense pressure, both from within and from external sources. The fear of failure, the weight of expectations, and the high stakes of competition can easily crush their confidence. But these athletes have learned to control the narrative in their minds. Instead of allowing fear or doubt to creep in, they constantly reinforce positive thoughts. Before a race or competition, you can hear them whispering to themselves, "I am prepared, I am strong, I've done this 1,000 times, and I can win." These mantras aren't just empty words, they are carefully crafted statements that shape their reality. Over time, this constant reinforcement helps them to stay focused, confident, and ready for victory, even when the pressure is at its highest. Waitley explains that this kind of mental training is just as important as physical preparation. In fact, many athletes attribute their success not to superior physical abilities, but to their ability to control their mindset through positive self-talk. Your self-talk shapes your reality. When you control your inner dialogue, you control your outcomes. Ask yourself, what are you telling yourself each day? Are your thoughts empowering you, or are they holding you back? Winners learn from failures, not fear them. One of the most valuable lessons in the psychology of winning is that winners don't fear failure, they learn from it. They see failure as feedback, not as a reflection of their worth. Thomas Edison, one of the greatest inventors in history, is famous for his persistence and resilience. When working on his invention of the light bulb, Edison faced thousands of failed experiments. Over 10,000, in fact. Any ordinary person might have given up after the first few hundred attempts, deeming the invention impossible. But not Edison. Instead of seeing these failures as defeats, he saw them as valuable lessons. With each unsuccessful attempt, he didn't lament his loss, he simply adjusted his approach. He famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Edison believed that every failure brought him one step closer to success. His mindset was one of curiosity and learning, not frustration or defeat. This is a mindset that Denis Waitley emphasizes in the psychology of winning. Winners don't let failure define them, they use it as a tool for growth. In the end, Edison succeeded in creating the light bulb, an invention that would change the world. His success was not just a product of genius, it was a product of his ability to see failure as feedback and keep moving forward. Failure isn't the end, it's just part of the process. Winners don't let it defeat them, they let it teach them. Ask yourself, how do you handle failure? Visualization is winning's secret weapon. Visualization is one of the most underrated tools for success. Winners visualize their success long before it becomes a reality. They create mental images of their desired outcomes, which helps them prepare mentally and emotionally for victory. Jack Nicklaus, widely regarded as one of the greatest golfers of all time, didn't just rely on his physical abilities to win championships, he relied on his mind. One of the techniques that made Nicklaus so successful was his use of visualization. Before every shot, Nicklaus would stand on the course and close his eyes. He would take a deep breath and begin to mentally rehearse the perfect shot. In his mind, he would picture the exact swing he wanted to take, the flight of the ball through the air, the perfect arc, and where it would land. He visualized everything down to the smallest detail, and then, once he had the picture clear in his mind, he would open his eyes and take the shot. Nicklaus believed that if you could visualize success clearly enough in your mind, you could make it happen in reality. This mental practice gave him the confidence and calmness he needed to execute under pressure. And it worked. Throughout his career, Nicklaus won 18 major championships and became one of the most decorated golfers in history. Visualization is a technique that's used by many of the world's top athletes, performers, and business leaders. It's about seeing success before it happens, which allows you to mentally and emotionally prepare for victory. What you can see in your mind, you can achieve in reality. Visualization helps align your mind and body for success. Ask yourself, are you using visualization to prepare for success, or are you only focusing on the obstacles in your way? Winners take responsibility for their actions. A key trait of winners is that they take full responsibility for their actions. They don't blame external circumstances or other people when things go wrong. Instead, they look inward and ask, what could I have done differently? A business leader who faced a major setback. He had launched a new product that he was confident would succeed. The company had invested millions of dollars into development and marketing, and everyone was excited for the big launch. But things didn't go as planned. The product was a flop. Sales didn't meet expectations, and the company lost a significant amount of money. Many people in the leader's position would have looked for someone to blame. Perhaps the marketing team didn't do their job, or the development team made some mistakes. There were plenty of places to point fingers. But this leader didn't do that. Instead of blaming others, he took full responsibility for the failure. He acknowledged that there were things he could have done differently in the planning, execution, and rollout of the product. By owning up to his mistakes, he was able to learn valuable lessons from the failure, lessons that helped him succeed with future projects. This mindset of personal responsibility is a hallmark of winners. They don't pass the blame or make excuses. They take ownership of their actions and outcomes, which ultimately gives them the power to learn and improve. Winners understand that personal responsibility is empowering. When you take ownership of your actions, you gain control over your future. Ask yourself, are you taking full responsibility for your life, or are you passing the blame onto external factors? Consistency and persistence win the long game. Success doesn't happen overnight. Winners understand that consistency and persistence are the keys to long-term victory. A marathon runner who wasn't naturally the fastest or most talented. He didn't have the explosive speed of other runners, nor did he come from an athletic background. But what he did have was persistence and consistency. Every day, rain or shine, the runner would get up early in the morning and go for a long run. He followed a strict training schedule, even when he didn't feel like it. While other runners might skip a session here or there, this runner never did. He knew that success wasn't about being fast in one race, it was about showing up day after day and putting in the work. Over time, this daily dedication paid off. His body adapted to the demands of the marathon, and he became stronger and more resilient. He didn't rely on natural talent, he relied on his ability to stay committed. Eventually, he won several marathons, not because he was the most gifted, but because he was the most persistent. This story highlights the importance of consistency in achieving success. Winners don't just win once, they win over and over again by staying committed to the process. Winning is a habit. It's not about one big moment, it's about showing up and doing the work day after day, even when it's hard. Ask yourself, are you committed to consistent action, or are you waiting for a perfect moment to begin? Winners maintain a growth mindset. Finally, winners adopt a growth mindset. They believe that their abilities can be developed through effort and learning. They don't see challenges as threats, they see them as opportunities to grow. Denis Waitley shares a powerful story about a student named Michael, who found himself labeled as a failure early in his academic career. From a young age, Michael struggled with his studies. Reading was a challenge, math seemed insurmountable, and as a result, he often felt defeated. Teachers and peers saw him as the slow kid in class, and that label began to shape his self-image. Every report card was a reminder of his perceived inadequacies, reinforcing the idea that he was destined to be average at best. But deep down, Michael had a flicker of hope. He had heard about the concept of a growth mindset, the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through hard work and perseverance. Inspired, he decided to reject the label that others had placed on him. Michael began to take small but significant steps toward change. He started dedicating extra time to his studies, seeking help from his teachers and classmates. Instead of feeling embarrassed when he didn't understand something, he learned to ask questions. He embraced challenges as opportunities to learn, rather than viewing them as threats to his self-worth. With each passing week, Michael's effort began to pay off. He discovered new study techniques, learned to manage his time better, and found joy in the process of learning. Slowly but surely, his grades improved. Where once he had been at the bottom of his class, he began to climb the ranks. Over the course of a few years, Michael's transformation was nothing short of remarkable. By the time he graduated high school, he was not only at the top of his class but also earning scholarships for college. His story became an inspiration for others, proving that a growth mindset can truly change the trajectory of one's life. Your abilities are not fixed. If you believe in growth, you can continually improve and succeed. Ask yourself, do you see challenges as opportunities to grow, or do you shy away from them? In The Psychology of Winning, Denis Waitley shows us that winning isn't about talent or luck, it's about mindset. From believing in your worth, mastering positive self-talk, learning from failure, and visualizing success, to taking responsibility and staying persistent, these principles form the foundation of a winning psychology.